why was Jesus killed? I mean, this whole Easter story is built on the premise that Jesus died and then 3 days later rose again. But why was he killed in the first place? It's possible that some of us here today believe that Jesus died on a cross, but we really possibly do not know why the Romans actually ordered his crucifixion and at the request of the Jewish leaders. Well, after Jesus was betrayed and arrested by the Jewish leaders, they took him to the high priest Caiaphas. Now, the chief priests and the whole council were seeking false testimony against Jesus that they might put him to death. But they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. At last, two came forward and said, "This man said that I'm able to destroy the temple of God and to rebuild it in 3 days." And the high priest stood up and he said to Jesus, "Have you no answer to make? What is it that these men testify against you?" But Jesus remained silent. And the high priest said to him, "I adjure you, I charge you, by the living God, you tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God." And Jesus said to him, "You have said so. You've said it. But I tell you, from now on, you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming down on the clouds of heaven." And then the high priest tore his robes and said, "He has uttered blasphemy. What further witnesses do we even need? You have now heard his blasphemy. What is your judgment?" And they answered, "He deserves death." And then they spit in his face and struck him, and some walked up and just slapped him. And so according to Matthew's account, the answer is this: Jesus was killed because he claimed to be the Son of God, God himself. Jesus could have told them what they wanted to hear that night. He could have said, "I never said those things. I'm not God." Who knows? They may have let him go. But he said, "You have said it," which means I am the Son of God. And so this man, Jesus of Nazareth, who lived and walked this planet that we walk on, he was killed because he claimed something that the Jewish people considered to be blasphemy and worthy of death. His claim was that he was the Messiah, the Son of God. Jesus was killed because he claimed to be God in the flesh. And many considered that blasphemy and worthy of death. And now today we have a common belief that's held among people that you probably talk to, that Jesus was a great teacher, that he was a compassionate humanitarian. And many who deny that Jesus is God, they will speak wonderfully about his help with the poor and the sick and the blind. But they fail to see that Jesus performed these miracles because he was demonstrating his claim that he was God. And so why is it important that we know that Jesus was killed because he claimed to be God? Why is it important that you know that? Because it shows us how critically important the truth of his deity was and is to Jesus. Otherwise, he would have answered it differently, and we have a different story that we're telling today.